Are you leaving money on the table? There are growth and revenue opportunities you may be missing by not pursuing government and commercial contracts. Our guest is a federal acquisitions expert and business growth strategist with nearly 25 years of experience helping businesses succeed in the federal market. Oh, yeah, we're going to learn a lot from today's guest. Stay tuned for the Startup Life Live show. Let's glow. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Startup Life Live show. I'm your host, Ande, Lyons, 4 times founder and startup champion to founders around the world. And after raising 4 businesses of my own, I now share founder startup stories to help newly minted business owners find the solutions and inspiration they need to succeed. And I am thanking you for carving out time to tune in and up your founder game, because as you do better, your business will do better, right? And while you're at it, you're going to be cheering on another founder. So it's all good. And a new resource, a new tool, a new solution. You could have an aha moment today that will take your business to the next level. So thank you for tuning in. And whether you're joining us live or via replay, be sure to say, hey, Ande, in the comment section, so I know you're here and I can send you a big virtual love hug. And speaking of love, thank you for sharing your love on this video. We are live right now on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. And when you click that like button and share it out to your community, you never know who you could be helping. Someone could be seeing this and going, oh my gosh, this is just what I need today. Yay. So thank you for sharing your love. And if you're watching from YouTube and you have not done so already, please click on the subscribe button and the bell icon. I'm so grateful for that. It really does help us reach more first-time founders and help them maximize the joy and minimize the heartache from their founder journey. Oh, and hey, if you'd like to receive an alert whenever a new show is posted, well, here's a wonderful community you can join. And it's the Startup Life Live Meetup group, bit.ly/Startup Life Live. I'll have the link in the show notes, or if you're watching via video, you can just scan that QR code. It'll take you right there. And this way you'll get an alert whenever I post a new show, because we are having great conversations with these amazing founders who really help our businesses soar. And speaking of helping startup founders, if you resonate with the show's mission of amplifying diverse founder voices while serving first-time founders around the world, please reach out to me to learn more about how you can make a greater impact on the startup ecosystem through sponsoring the Startup Life Live show. Ande at AndeLyons.com is how you can reach me. All right, so let's get into the goods today, because I am telling you, I have been a woman-owned business 4 times. And when you are a women-owned business, you are a minority-owned business. And our guest knows all about how to get the gigs that we're always talking about, but we never seem to actually pursue. So let me bring up all her good information while I read you her bio. It's serial entrepreneur Linda Chatmon. She has fine-tuned the art of multiple revenue streams based off of one concept: helping businesses win government contracts. 1, she's a federal acquisitions expert and business growth strategist with nearly 25 years of experience helping businesses succeed in the federal market. As the CEO of Contracts and Grants LLC, Linda heads a team that's responsible for more than $13.2 billion in government contract negotiations and awards. She's also the founder of Contracts and Capital in Sports and Entertainment, where Linda connects high-profile athletes, celebrities, and entertainers to lucrative opportunities in the federal and commercial contracting space. And wait, there's more. She's also the creator of the Fast Track Academy and the author of The Road to Government Contracts. I got to tell you, I follow Linda everywhere she glows. Of course, I found her on Instagram and said, I have got to, and really, I stalked her for weeks. Let's bring Linda into the show and yay! I am
Hi,
over the moon.
Yay!
I am over the moon that you are here. And here's why. Folks, you know that I help women with their WeBank applications, right? That form is so impossible. And they're always asking me, okay, Ande, now can you help me get the gigs? I'm like, oh, hell no. But boy, if I found the right person for you. And
Absolutely.
Linda, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for just always posting the best information on Instagram. Folks, you have to stop right now what you're doing and follow at Ms. Contracts and Grants right now. She's going to keep you kicking it. All right, as founders. Where are you hailing from, Linda?
I am here in Atlanta Metro.
Excellent.
So right here, easy access into and out of the city.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm going to just say a quick howdy do for, to some of the folks tuning in, LinkedIn user. I don't know, sometimes they show the face and sometimes they don't. I'm so sorry, but I'm so grateful that you are here. And I'm so happy that, so share your name, okay, that you joined us today. And Mia's right down there in front. Mia's been wearing a hard hat for years. Along with being the incredible host of the Shit We Don't Talk About podcast.
All right.
And then Heather is just sharing her heart. But you know what? I have a quick banner for Heather because I'm always screwing up her URL. So I'm just going to put it up there. Go share your love with Heather, whrhealing.com. She helps us shine and also just really step into our authority in a beautiful spiritual way, folks. And then it's Brent. I love that you're here, Brent, and I love that you're sending love from Ottawa. And Mia's just loving your vibe too. She's loving that you're giggling and having a good time. Yay. And Lauren. Okay, so Lauren, yes, amazing bio is right. So Lauren has an incredible business called Keep Wondering Out Loud. And she's working with large corporations to help them have the conversations they need to create better teams. I hope I'm saying that right, Goddess Lauren. You are remarkable and doing remarkable work in the world. So I'm so happy you tuned in. Thanks, everybody, for showing up because we're going to learn a lot from Linda. But, at first, I just have to talk about the fact that, and I said this during the intro, Linda, you have built all these wonderful other revenue streams and opportunities to serve in services by jumping off, leaping off, springboarding off your platform of helping folks with government contracts. And so first of all, I just got to applaud you. We'll probably talk a little bit more about that later, but folks, this can happen with your business, with your services, provided you stay with that core business knowledge and acumen that they have. But let's go back. We don't want to go back too far, right? But let's talk about why you left whatever you were doing and going off payroll, paycheck, all of that, and became an entrepreneur. How did that happen, Linda? Oh, are we frozen? Oh, there she is. She's coming back.
Oh, wow. Well, the way it happened for me was I was in the legal industry. I was a paralegal for a very large pharmaceutical firm that was stationed in Japan. So I've been doing virtual long since the 90s. Because back then it was interoffice memos. Remember those big yellow envelopes that we used to send? So I would send those back and forth via Federal Express every day. So that was my bosses. My reports were in Japan. So I got it because my boss, who was the general counsel of the company at the time, said, Linda, during one of my evaluations, he said, Linda, if you could be doing anything in the world that you could be doing, what would it be? He said, you do a great job here, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, man, if I could do anything, I would be training people how to increase their income potential, because I was working with a lot of entry level people and they just weren't professional. And I'm like, if you would stop doing this and this and that and do this and this and this and that. And so the company saw how well I did that just on my lunch hour. And then I decided, I was like, wow, I'm pretty good at this. So the Welfare to Work initiative came out. I decided I wanted to train the Welfare to initiative, use the Welfare to
Yes.
initiative platform. And my boss at that time said, "Hey, you know what? You know how to form businesses. You just go do it." And within 6 months, I had my own contract. But when I found out that people were more interested in me getting my own contract, doing my own 501c3, than they were about the people that I helped. So that's how I ended up getting into consulting instead of direct services, because people wanted to know how I did what it was that I did.
Well, needless to say, everybody, you can get right away that personality as divinely delicious as Linda's will help. But, I want to point out too that people come into our lives. And this is, of course, in your case, your boss, I don't know the gender of the boss, but they helped you. I mean, imagine asking someone, what is it that if failing were not an option, what would you want to do right now?
That's right.
What a gift, what an angel in your life to come in and pose that. Plus, you had your lived experience of having to get up every day, be self-directed. You had deliverables, but you didn't see anybody. So you got used to working all this.
That's right.
Right. So you were able to step into your entrepreneurship world, I think a little easier instead of having that, tough transition that a lot of folks have with going from employee.
But the funny thing about it though is that's when I decided I was going to become an entrepreneur. I was an entrepreneur at 8. Well, I take that back. I was running a business at 8. My grandfather owned a Black Angus farm and a very large tobacco farm down in North Carolina. And as the youngest of the grandkids at the time, I wasn't able to go outside and play because I had something called impetigo. It was where if a bug bit you, it turned real ugly. So I had to stay in the house. But I was smart. So my granddaddy said, you know what? You're going to help me. So at 8 years old, I was doing payroll for a very large farm of about, at that time, it was probably about 75 workers. And I had to distribute money, but back then it was everybody got the exact same thing.
Right.
And what I knew made me an entrepreneur, in hindsight, of course, was I would go to my grandfather. Like one time I was like, Granddaddy, why does everybody get the same amount? I just looked at Clyde Edwards. Clyde did twice the work as everybody else. Can he get 2 envelopes? And my granddad was like, no. So I bought Clyde Edwards a moon pie and a drink. And back in the country, that's a big deal. So I rewarded him because he was doing more work than anyone else. But I didn't realize that at 8, I created a performance-based system because my grandfather's crops went up by 30% that year. So at 8 years old, I was trying to figure out how to make things better. Entrepreneurship was just, hey, I got teased all the time. I don't know about like comic books and cartoons. I don't even know them to this day. I didn't watch them.
And your grandfather was no fool. He saw right away, I'm going to put this on work.
So yeah, it's kind of in my genes.
Oh, Linda, I just love that story. Something fierce. This is so great because, I'm always curious to, was it a random thing? Or, with my businesses, they all showed up as stray cats at the door crying until I let them in. But, you were out there making it happen. And so now, as a paralegal, you understood contracts and contract law, and you understood how, the language, et cetera. But, why was this the way you wanted to help people?
I wanted to help people because I was directly in the trenches at that moment.
Okay.
While I didn't have a lot of experience, and this caused me some credibility issues as well, which was a challenge because I didn't really have any credibility in the welfare to work market. But as I explained to them, my goal is to get you out. So that I have experience with. So I had to basically let people know that just because I had not been on the welfare system didn't necessarily mean that I could not relate to them as it relates to welfare to work. So That's the way I approached it. And I got in that particular space because it was so needed at the time. And it was in that training area that I so loved.
Exactly. And so let's set the context for folks because government contracts are out there. And they are under initiative to bring on minority-owned businesses. But unless you can connect the dots, how are they going to know they're out there? And this is, we can save it for another show to go on, like why? Because I always tell the story about how the Black Economic Council was giving, this Commonwealth of Massachusetts a hard time. Like, how come we aren't getting any gigs? And they're like, well, where are the Black-owned businesses? And Well, the Black Economic Council filled up the Boston Convention Center and said,
Here
okay,
Here they
there are
are.
hundreds of us
They
here.
are.
So see, this is, again, going back to when you were 8 and you saw, wait a minute, he's getting paid twice. We got to get this going for this guy. He's working paid once to work twice as hard as everybody. How can I amplify? How can I make life better for him? Also, excuse me, you saw that in your community, folks who were struggling because they didn't know how to connect those dots and how to get in and how to make themselves look good. So let me just, before we go on to the next step here, let me just say hi to Asia. So happy to see you today. Thanks for tuning in. And Jessica, woohoo! We're going to learn a lot today from Ms. Contracts and Grants. And that's right, Asia. That's the power of community. Glad Grandpa listened to your insight. And Linda Chatmon. Oh, let's see. Oh, it's Toy Johnson. Vincent, speaker, trained coach, podcast host. No sugarcoating coach.
Oh, wow. Love that.
Okay? That's, that's how we get right into the facts, everybody. We're not going to sugarcoat this for you to make it easier. Linda, I think that sounds a little like you going there.
It does.
So, and altruistically, you were searching, for a way to help people and solve problems for others. So as you started to build your business, how did this happen? How did you get your first customer? How did you prove what people wanted? What were some of the stumbling blocks that you had?
It was easy for me. I say easy because at that time, I was the only person that understood government contracts and grants because I started in the nonprofit world. So of course I had to get my 501c3. I had to write my own grants. I had to do all of those kind of things. So for me, it was literally about just taking all of the things that I did well and kind of putting them together. And then once I did that, because it was a federal mandate, every business had to have a welfare to work plan. People were coming to me because I was the only one branded as, Miss Welfare to Work. And that's kind of what they called me back then. Oh, that's Miss Welfare to Work. She could teach anybody to go from, welfare to work. So what happened was I got appointed to the White House Council for Welfare to Work. Back then it was President Clinton.
Linda, I'm so sorry. What are you saying? What are you saying? What work? I can't.
Welfare to Work. That was the initiative back in the late 90s.
Yes, it was. It was very big and huge. Very important.
Exactly.
So, okay, back to you.
And most corporations didn't have a clue of how to do it. So they would hire, at first I was going to them saying, hey, I want you to pledge 10 jobs because I'm gonna go over here and I'm going to train these women to come in and work for your business. You tell me what's important. So we customized training and they loved the people that we sent them because I had trained them specifically for a particular job. And so after the program was over, everybody wanted to hire me as a consultant to come in and help them administer those types of programs and plans in their corporations. You're talking about Marriott, you're talking about UPS, you're talking about major corporations. So that's how I got into the consulting arena. Was because once my contract was over, it was like, hey, can you come help us? And that's how I got my first customers. And I haven't started COVID got me marketing because prior to that, it was all word of mouth. Word of mouth. People came looking for me instead of me having to look for them. And so I was always on daises. I was on pod shows and conferences.
I just want you to know, I, for one, love the fact that you had 25 years without having to do any really intense marketing because you just got out there and you just showed up and people were like, I want some of that now.
That's it. That's right.
And,
so now I'm trying to capitalize on that, which is why going on this show was really, really great because I'm transitioning out of direct services. Yes. And really starting to take more advantage of coaching and consulting to show people based on the results that I got, how they can do the same thing. So we're kind of phasing out of direct services and kind of showing people how to do it within their own company.
Oh my gosh. I love this something fierce. And Angela's like, and the government and the corporations still do not know how to do it. Sad. So true, Angela. Anybody who's trying to work that. But, the beauty of what you do is you prepare the people, you vet the people, you have built up this wonderful reputation over the years. And, and I was, during the intro, I was being a little tongue in cheek, and that's not all, folks. You've done so many wonderful things, by creating, the guide to help people get a government contract. So that, of course, is something that you can sell and promote while you're sleeping, and which we love. And so that was important, but also creating an app. Tell us a little bit about the Diva app, or App Diva.
Okay. Well,
and I know you'll get into it a little later
too. App Diva is my whole tagline is I grow businesses through contracts and grants, technology, and e-learning. Okay. Well, the technology portion is the App Diva. Well, what is the App Diva? Well, the App Diva is a technology consulting firm that specializes in designing apps for entrepreneurs, athletes, celebrities, and entertainers. Why? We live different lifestyles. We live different lifestyles than the average person. And so when we travel, we go places where we don't know people. And a person can only refer a seamstress to me if I follow them. So if I don't follow them, how do I find out where's the seamstress that can fix my dress? Like right here, right now, I have a show that I have to go on in 2 hours. So we came up with an app called Right Now. And the app is it's exactly like Uber, but instead of rides, you're looking for services, and it gives you a person who has available services within 2 hours within a 50-mile radius.
Absolutely. I love that. That's great. And I want to remind everybody right now, Linda is here to help you, because you can get it. Like, since 8 years old, she loves to help people. This floats her boat. It lights her up. Nothing makes her happy. So please pop any questions that you have in the threads, because we also learn from your questions. And of course, I've got a bunch of questions for poor Linda. My gosh.
That's okay.
But, we've spent, a little time talking about your background, how you got here, how you brought all this together. Let's dive into some of the information that you'd like to share, Linda. If you want to do your screen share or whatever works for you.
I am going to do the screen share now.
We can talk about why minority-owned businesses leave money on the table by not pursuing these, I call them lucrative distribution channels.
They are very lucrative. Let me make sure my screen is being shared.
Okay. That's all right. Okay. And right, Mia, love the concept, like the Right Now app. Hello. My nail broke. Right.
All right. So do we see it now?
I am not seeing it. Did you hit the plus button down below?
I did.
No, it's not popping up.
It's not popping up.
That's okay. So folks, there's so many opportunities, both in corporate as well as government, to really leverage your minority-owned business status. And so, but knowing how, there we go. I got it now. Perfect.
Okay. All right.
But knowing how to do that, so hard. And also finding out, well, who's going to certify that I am this person? And I bring that up too, because, with the WeBank, they really kick the tires and make sure that you are doing, and Linda's going to talk about this, the most important thing. You have ownership and you have management of your business. Okay. You're not just someone who put a name plate in front on the desk. So Linda, I'm going to add this to the stream.
Okay.
And we're going to start learning from you.
Okay. All right. Well, I just kind of want to run through who I am, because, I got my hands in so many pots. And as I am transitioning into more consulting and coaching, I wanted to make sure that everybody who had access to me had access to my relationships. So it's important that people know, where I swim. I'm also a political appointee here in DeKalb County, responsible for making sure that all small businesses in DeKalb County and surrounding areas receive their fair share of 20% of all contracts for DeKalb County, Georgia. And for those of you who don't know about DeKalb County, Georgia, they were the one that came in and kind of saved the day for the Democratic Party for the Biden administration. So DeKalb County kind of got their dues now. So that's the organization that I have the agency that I have a political appointee ship with. Also a subject matter expert for government contracting for Syracuse University, Florida State University, and Louisiana State University. I do a lot of speaking. Don't mind, I speak for free. So any of you who have pod shows, radio shows, conferences, workshops. I love giving back to the community. So I will speak at your event and or panel or committee. Yeah, I do that just because I want to be able to share the information that I have gotten over the last 28 years. So here's why Linda Chatmon is now branding Linda Chatmon.com versus each one of my businesses. As you can see, all of these are my brands.
Yes.
But the one thing about these brands, they all do the exact same thing. Remember, my tagline was growing businesses through contracts and grants, technology, and e-learning. So all of these brands contribute to that. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about each one of those so that you'll know exactly how I can get you from government contracts, grow you with government contracts, technology, and e-learning. So the contracts and capital sports and entertainment brand, 8 to 14. 8 to 14 is a basketball term, and it stands for, you got your starting five, and then you got your two off the bench, and then you have the 8 to 14ers. So the 8 to 14ers are those athletes that make the team, but don't get all the great deals. So we bring them in, work with them, tell them how to start and grow their businesses and how they can leverage their businesses while they're still on the field. And then we go to the franchise owners and say, hey, Mr. Franchise Owner, these guys put butts in seats. All right, now we want you to pledge, given a certain percentage of your contracts to athlete-owned businesses. So we're going to the sports market and asking them to do the same thing that so many government agencies and municipalities are requiring now as it relates to minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses. We're saying, hey, give back to that company, give back to that individual that helped put butts and seats into your organization. And that's what contracts and capital 8 to 14 is all about. Told you a little bit about the App Diva. App Diva is the technology side because I can be a better entrepreneur if my needs are being met. So plus one, the next one off of right now, which is in production now and design now. Plus one, hey, for all you single people out there, or for you married and or attached people who want to have access to high profile decision makers. It's called Plus One. I don't know about you guys, but as a political appointee, as a season holder of the Falcons, I get a lot of invitations to some really great stuff. Having an app where there's games or concerts. So sure. I don't always want to go by myself, and I don't always want to be a dating thing. So just imagine StubHub meets Tinder. All in one. So
oh my gosh, Mia Voss, are you taking this in? Come on.
So it's not, or Facebook meets StubHub, because I don't always want to take a date. Maybe I want to take Ande to a game because when I looked at her profile, I realized that she was a Falcons fan, and I've been wanting to talk to her for a while, but hey, I can't reach out to her because she's so busy. But if I send her invitations to a Falcons game, she might want to talk to me. So that's what Plus One is all about. And again, putting entrepreneurs in the same place so that they can conduct business. C-level leasing, just really my fancy name for coaching, because there are some people who are startup organizations who need somebody to come in for 3 to 6 months to just get them ready and then hand it off. Or you've got those companies who are doing really, really well in commercial contracts, but they want to stand up their government division. So I might come in for 6 months, act as their CEO, get all the systems in place, do all the training, and then hand it off to a business that is looking to go ahead and move forward.
Yes. I am having a moment here with that C-level leasing.
Okay.
Because that brand name, I mean, you're knocking out of the park on all your brand names, but this says it all.
Yes.
You can lease me for 3 to 6 months. This is what it looks like. Nobody has ever used that before.
Gotta use it. So, hey, that's on the table as well. Performance assessments rating system. You talked about it a little bit, Ande, when you talked about vetting. Vetting is what we do quite well. And it's a byproduct of what I've been doing. People will call me up every day, 2 or 3 times a day. Government agencies. Hey, Linda, I need a woman-owned engineering firm. You know anybody? Hey, Linda, I need this. So because we deal in government contracting, I always know a company, but up until now, I've had to rely on my brain to be like, oh yeah, such and such or such and such. So I've taken my brain and all of our clients and I've put them into a database. And so PARS is the scoring system that allows me to match a particular client up with a particular buyer. And that is so think of it like this. Think of your PARS score is the same thing as your credit score is to a credit lender.
Sure.
It simply says that this person is likely or not to be able to successfully perform. So when Andy calls and asks me for a veteran-owned business, I can say, okay, great. You know what? They scored 500 out of a possible 600. Based on the information that I have on you, they're going to be a really, really good fit with you. So that's just kind of our automated system that allows me to go ahead.
Yeah, and the sweet thing about PARS is that it keeps your relationship and credibility way high, because this is really important to government and supplier diversity programs, that who's coming in is not going to, make them look bad.
Exactly. And so our target market is really membership organizations, but for some reason they don't seem to be very open, because I'm like, wouldn't you want your businesses vetted? But then again, I see why they can't do that, because they get paid for the certifications, and I get that. But my buyers don't want to look down a list of directories because they don't know anything from that. And most people, you can't tell from their name what they even do. So
or they pop it up with some really nice keywords.
Exactly. Right. So they just go in there and they eeny, meeny, miny, mo, hope the person responds to the solicitation. And if they do, so there's really no vetting and matchmaking going on. So that's what PARS is designed to do. We look at technical capabilities. We look at your teaming suitability and your ability to be a good government contract teaming partner.
Right.
And so that's what PARS does. Now, what happens?
And that's not cool, folks.
Well, what happens when you've been determined to be a really good company to do business with? When you go into our supply schedule so that people who are looking for you can find you. And this is what our supply schedule looks like. It's www.cng supply schedule, and that's where we house all of our people. We just got a big pledge from Georgia Power, which is a huge energy firm here, and about 4 other companies. So we've got about $10 million in subcontracts that people have already pledged to us. So they're going to start buying from our customers because they know that they've been vetted. So, and the last thing is the Fast Track Academy. It's kind of what we do. We do a Fast Track Academy, which is 14 sessions over a period of time that walks you through an experience from beginning to end. We call it now the Just Do One Challenge. It's like, you got all these questions, just do one. Because if you do one, then it's going to answer every single question that you have. So at the end of that process, you're either saying, wow, I want to do more of this, or government contract isn't for me. It really takes up too much time. So for those of you who kind of wonder about, well, what does all of this mean? What all of this means is it translates into this right here.
Yeah.
When I say that I grow businesses by 30% within the first 18 months through contracts and grants, technology and e-learning, this is the proof right here. Had a client come in with me into 2017, and this happens every year. 2017, as you can see, she was at $328,974. Exactly 1 year later, she was at $2,208,309.
What?
And that was simply a result of her understanding. She had the relationships. She just didn't know how to go in and have that conversation using government language. So she went through the fast track, and pretty much everyone that has gone through our fast track has been very, very successful in deciding whether or not they want to move forward. But we always say, just do one. So for those of you that are still on the fence, here's a video that I want to share with you. And can we share that?
We'll see it. Did you hit the volume button?
Let's see. I'm clicking on now.
If not, we can put the link.
Okay, here we go. Can you see my screen now?
I sure can.
Okay, all right. This is the Just One challenge that this company did. Many of them, just like you, he'd been in business less than a year. So listen to what he has to say.
Hi, my name is John Lutwack, and I'm the CEO of DHC Real Estate Services. And I'm recording this message today to talk about the Just Do One challenge with Linda Chatmon. And if you're on the fence and you're thinking about submitting for a government bid, my strongest recommendation to you is to go ahead and do that. If you do that and you surround yourself with terrific people, you'll be surprised at what you may be able to achieve. We were on the fence, and then we looked at two specific submissions that we wanted to get our hat in the ring for. And thanks to Linda and her team, we won the first two contracts we submitted proposals for. Linda, thank you for your terrific work. I look forward to many years of working together. And to all of you other contractors and fellow business leaders out there, please go ahead and get your hat in the ring. You will be surprised at what you can achieve. Good luck. Thanks.
Oh, hooray.
Yay! So yeah, that's kind of what they say. That's me, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay, so first thing I've got to do, Mia, thank you for this. I can be an entrepreneur if my needs are being met. Well, we have a thing here. Thank you, Mia, for grabbing that as well. But I am going to bring it up right here because this is an absolute 100%. Stitch that on a pillow. Okay. I can be a great entrepreneur if my needs are being met 100%. Okay. That is outstanding. Okay. So I want to bring in a LinkedIn user who said, I just got my WeBank certification. Where do I start with getting a government contract to supply my product?
Okay, well, the first thing you're going to need to do is have a capability statement. That is the very first thing you need. It is an electronic version of what you do the best of. But there's certain information that people like to see on it. It just can't be your regular. It's got to have your NAICS code and all of that government terminology stuff. And then you want to get registered in SAM, which I think with WeBank you have to already be in to even get your certification.
Yes, because when you do the WeBank application, folks, you can do it just for your, Fortune 500 corporate accounts, or you can also at the same time do your WOSB. And so, yes, you have to be registered on SAM, and that's sam.gov, everybody. Go figure it out. When you get there, they'll hold your hand. That's great. And then, so where do I start with the government? Well, are they going to want to take a fast track with you so they understand?
Absolutely. Fast track is great. Fast track is, and it's only 1 hour a day. It's not like 8 hours of training. And I've set it up to be the exact replica of a government experience. So every day, you're not going to spend 8 hours on the phone doing government contracts. You got other things to do. So you set aside 1 hour a day, and then I give you homework. So we'll go over, I don't know, maybe today we'll pick out the project that you're going to work on for the whole process.
Right.
And then tonight I tell you to do something in bite-sized pieces. Each night you have bite-sized pieces, but I do that because that's what you have to do with government contracts anyway. Manage everything else you got going on, plus manage contracts. So yes, fast track is a way to get your foot in the ring using the exact same process. You'll learn how to price. You'll learn how to vet. You'll learn how to even get it down from, how do I go from these 50 opportunities that show up in my mailbox every month or every week down to the 2 that I want to go after. And that's called vetting, and it's also called capture. And I'll show you how to do all of that through in the process.
That is terrific. Angela Sanchez is asking, why do you think the certified business lists that are published by entities like the City of Boston are not being used?
For the same reason that we even came up with the CNG supply schedule. There's a lot of directories, but no vetting. There's businesses out there that have been on businesses, but if you were asked them for a copy of their last minute, they can't give them to you. If you don't have the info, and so many companies have gotten burned by that, by bringing on a minority or a woman or a veteran-owned business, but because the company didn't have experience in federal or even state and local acquisitions, they couldn't really help them. Right. So they end up not getting this amount of work that they could get. So the key is people will go to directories, but most people that are on directories are non-responsive to bids. They don't have the bandwidth to respond to bids. Mm-hmm. So directories have proven not to be the best source. So they come to companies like us and other government agencies asking them, who are you using now? Which is why it appears that same big companies get all the business. And it's because no businesses are not raising their hand.
Right. And also what Linda said too at the beginning of that conversation, Angela and folks who are listening, you know, vetting means that your business is buttoned up. And I see this a lot with the WeBank application. People get incorporated and they don't do any of the corporate governance that's key to your business. Get the attorney on board, whatever you need to do, keep your business buttoned up.
Yeah.
And so this is the concern when the larger companies bring you in. Now, when I had my food business, I grew it in less than 2 years by going through food service instead of the shelf. And so I would go to their specific supplier diversity vendor fairs. So I could set up my booth and I'd have the head of, Reebok's kitchen for Sodexo, or the head of Dana-Farber through Aramark, coming by and tasting my food and saying yes, and I'm able to give them my quick pitch, and they could hear already how I would meet orders and all of that. And that's great. Well, we don't have that right now. So, maybe another aspect too, Linda, would be to have a little video component for your supplier.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah. And like I said, and one of the things you mentioned is none of those avenues are available right now. So what do you do? Right. And I tell people, not only is it pre and post COVID, but it's about bandwidth and business development budget, because even before COVID, I would tell, don't go to conferences. I would tell people, do not spend unless you have a product, because the only thing that is going to get the government's attention is going to be what comes across their desk. You are not going to get a government contract going to a conference and introducing yourself to the speaker, because they 5,000 other people at that same conference who's looking to do the same thing. So she's probably got a bid that's out that if you responded to, she would recognize the name. So talking to someone and giving them their card and giving them your capability statement, that's great. But you're only going to get traction if you show up where you can get contracts. And that's at the solicitation table. If you're not submitting bids, nobody knows who you are. At least the people who are the most important people who need to know who you are. So submit those source assaults, submit those RFIs, because that's the only way you're going to get on the radar of the people who are looking to buy from you.
Absolutely. And it has a little bit of a snowball effect, because as you start submitting and you start preparing, because it's one thing to submit a bid, but can you meet that bid? So that's
what happens when you win it. That's right.
Yes. Okay. So let's talk about what happens when you win it.
All right. Well, what happens when you win it is hopefully you've made that as part of your bid strategy, because your bid strategy should assume that 40% of the time you're going to win. So if this is a contract where you've got to put out $1 million or $250,000 before you get your first check from the government, then that's something you have to plan for with your banker or your finance advisor. So, doing the work, that's the easy part.
Oh my gosh.
Keeping the work and being compliant, that's where people drop the ball.
And I tell you, you know how I feel about your dream team, folks. The dream team includes your attorney. It includes your insurance broker. Okay. These are the people who are going to protect you and your business and give you the credibility you need. Of course, your accountant, who's always there to deliver the numbers and need all those pesky details that they require. I mean, it's ridiculous. I agree, Asia. Oh my gosh, Linda is amazing. Lisa Caprelli, yes, this is valuable. And I'm so grateful for your other comment here. Always learning on your amazing show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Asia says, I'm here for the organization of the slides and information. Love it.
Right. Now, wait, one thing you guys have to remember, and I think you mentioned a little bit, Andy, is the whole certification thing. Keep in mind, certifications, whether it's minority, whether it's female, whether it's veteran, woman, whatever certification you're going after, it's always going to be based on control, not ethnicity and not gender. The fact that you own the business is secondary to the fact that you control the business, because you can own a business and someone else control it. And that puts you at jeopardy if you've identified as a small business and not talked about the control. That and affiliation. All of you guys who are in mentor-protege relationships, or you see the word affiliation in some of those words, it simply means that the government needs you to understand that if you are affiliated with other businesses, the government looks at you and your affiliates collectively.
That's right.
Not just as one. So for those of you who've got 2 or 3 different businesses, I'm not talking about trade names. You can have trade names and DBAs. You've got one business. But if you have 3 or 4 standalone businesses, and you share the same office space and or management, those are your affiliates. And if one of those businesses is a large business, as defined by Small Business Side Standards, SBA, the SBA tells you based on your industry whether or not you're a small business. So if it says you're a small business at 25 million, that means you can get up to 25 million and be a small business. But if it says 7 million and one of your businesses is generating 10 million, but maybe one is only generating 250,000, then according to the government, you are generating 10 million as an entity because of your affiliates. So make sure you talk to someone before you submit your package, your application package, because all that stuff is in there.
That's right.
Getting the information is easy. Giving somebody your financials, giving somebody your bank statements, giving somebody your minutes, giving somebody your organizational documents. That's all easy. It's the interpretation of those documents and making sure that those documents say what they are supposed to say. That is where the consultant and your subject matter expert comes in, because they can look at your financials. They can look at your personal financial net worth statement and say, hey, you got 25 investment properties? No, you're not considered disadvantaged.
Although I always laugh on the WeBank application because they ask this question not once but twice. Is your business earning over 500 million a year? I'm like, why would we be here?
You would be surprised. And you got a lot of people who don't even understand. Oh, I just put the business in my wife's name. Not even intentionally realizing they just, I'll put it in my wife's name. But let me tell you why that doesn't work. Okay. You can't do that, because if wifey was a nurse, okay, and the business is an engineering firm, they're going to look at her resume and what she's been done over the last few years. Oh, and by the way, she probably better have a W-2, and she needs to be the highest earner in the company. So those are all little nuances that you have to kind of pay attention to when you're looking for.
And this is why you want to go through Linda's programs, because you do need to button that up. Or, when you're ready to do WeBank, reach out to me. I'll help you with the application, because they are very serious when they look, because they take your tax returns, whether you've been in business for a minute or you've got the 3 years of tax returns. They're combing them. I don't know what they're using, but anyway, they find things in there.
What they do, that is the checks and balance.
Yes.
Because anybody can say anything. You can say, oh, I only work for myself. Okay, yeah, but then why you got 500 W-2s from 500 different companies? Right. So everything is going to show up in your tax return. So they're just going to use the tax return to rebut what you put in the application.
That's right. Or
my husband, I'm not getting any, but this is your K1, right? Why do you have a K1 statement attached to your Schedule C? Oh, okay. So all of that matters.
Oh yeah, get the biggest magnifying glass you have and a microscope, and that's how they're looking at things, because these are lucrative contracts. And believe me, I don't think they want to send it to the same old. They really do want to do the right thing. And that's the beauty of what you've done, Linda, in vetting and creating all these different ways for folks to take advantage of this without it being just so mind-blowing that they run from the room screaming. I want to bring up Abraham. Hi, Abraham. Boy, did we love learning your startup stories and all about Pitch Gauge last Friday. You are a rock star. And, this is a gentleman who figured out how to do a gauge on roofs for roofing. And of course, the insurance companies love him because he can people can use this app. So, and government, when the hurricanes come in and they've got to assess all the damage, all of that. So Abraham, I know you got a lot on your plate, but boy, this is also wonderful. And that's right, Heather. It is about control. You are running that business, you are managing it, and you have 51% or more ownership of it. But you live and breathe this business, and they will find out if you are not. And thanks, LinkedIn user. I'm so glad you were finding this so helpful. She says, I feel blessed to be invited. Thank you, Andy and Linda, or he said. And then Angela, bringing all the great questions today. How about bond capacity for small businesses? A lot of them don't have enough to allow them to grow. How to close the gap? It is the chicken and egg problem.
Especially in the construction and in some cases renovation market. Yeah, bonding. And we are working on a resource right now. A gentleman who is has recently left the SBA, who did a lot of the small business innovative research grant programs in SBA. So I told him what a major issue that was for our clients. So he's going to be our bonding resource. So through the CNG supply schedule, which again is just a place where people, it's a marketplace. Everybody does business with each other. And you guys who are benefiting from the subcontracts are also saying, hey, you know what? I need to buy something. I want to buy it from the people from the schedule. So you're buying from each other. And I think the reason that this hasn't happened before now is we just put together the platform to make it happen. People want to make it happen. They want to check the box. They want to do business with, but where do we go? Where do we go? So now you go to one place and you look and you see all the subcontract opportunities that are there. And because you are a vendor in the supply schedule, you get to decide to go. It's just like the GSA schedule. We just made it private for people that we have worked with, who we know are willing to give you guys contracts.
What does it mean, bond capacity? Does that mean that you are licensed, that you have the insurance bond for people to go into people's homes?
Well, the bonding capacity can work in a variety of ways. In construction, it's usually because the government wants some assurance that you're going to be able to deliver something on time. So there's the performance bond, and that's the government's way saying, you said you were going to do it for $1 million, so we're only authorizing $1 million. Anything over and above that, then you got to do it. And then the big bond is just to bid.
Yeah. And Angela, I feel your pain. I mean, you want that lucrative contract, but who's going to give you the money to get the inventory to do the things that you need on that site if it's construction, which is why the big guys keep winning the deal, especially
and why you want to be at the table with the big boys, because right now the government has a huge incentive for people to do mentor-protege relationships, because the government wants to give contracts to small businesses. So they're giving the contracts to small businesses, but have allowed them to create mentor-protege programs so that the large business can kind of be their big brother, but the holder of the contract is the actual small business. So those
I love that mentor-protege program.
It's called the All Small Mentor-Protege program. It used to just be for companies that wanted to do business with large businesses and minorities. It used to be the 8A joint venture program. Now they're doing it where the company is hub zone, women, minority, veterans. You can connect as a business with a minority or with a woman owned, and y'all go to market together, and the government looks at you as one, as a joint venture.
I love that.
Yeah. That is major right now.
That is the right thing to do.
It is.
Because the big businesses need to mentor their protege, the smaller business, to let them be there, because competition is healthy. I think, Angela, I think she gave you all the names. I think you're all set on that. Oh my gosh, Linda, seriously, you're blowing my mind with all this great information. You know, a lot of people, though, this is why they just draw a blank. They go, yes, I know there's these contracts are out there, but how do I get part of them? How do I get into them? No, not interested.
Just do one.
Okay.
If you do one, I promise you, it will answer every single question that you have. It will either confirm your worst nightmare, or it will make you run and say, I can't believe I waited until now to go after government contracts. But either way, you're going to get one or the other reactions if you just do one.
And now you'll be able to go to sleep at night knowing you didn't leave money on the table, because you came back as a hell no.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. That's what it's all about. It's to prove a point that it can be done. And in your industry, walk through to see if you're willing to go through all the things that it takes. Either you're going to do it one time, but are you willing to do it over and over and over?
Right. And a lot of things you're going to create in that just one will be duplicated.
That's right.
Duplicatable. So can keep going.
That's right.
And Angela, yes, you do need to connect with Linda. And Linda, you're going to love meeting Angela. She is like, I've got my ring on every day, Angela, but that's a different thing. She's doing, she's a civil engineer.
Oh, wow.
And,
okay, cool.
Yep. And she does other remarkable things too. I agree, Heather. This conversation is on fire. And there's nothing better than when someone has knowledge base that Linda has in a category that we really want. And she's up there telling us exactly what we need to know and what to do. That feeling. Anyway, I'm going to have all, I'm going to have all the links for Linda in the show notes, whether you're listening on the podcast on Spotify, iHeart, or iTunes, or you're here, on YouTube or one of the archived videos. Just click the show notes, folks. It'll be on the YouTube video but you'll still see ways to connect on the archived videos on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. So yes, on fire, 100%. So Linda, like you're just such a rock star. And I know there's more that we could go over, the mistakes people made and all of this, but you have covered so much of what we needed to know about working and finding ways and the challenges and how to dissolve those roadblocks. And what's really wonderful, as I started the conversation off with, is how you took your core expertise, of course, the value-driven core expertise, because you tapped into your value when you were 8 years old, and then you brought it to the surface because you really love helping people. You love helping folks generate wealth and help create financial independence, not just for themselves and their family, but in many cases, a community, right?
That's
Through
right.
being able to hire folks. And I love that you have just kept, okay, now you need to know this. Now we need to create this because this can help people even more and even more and even more. And so you kept creating so many opportunities. Here's a question I love to find out from founders, especially someone who is, has a long lived experience of moving through the challenges. When you are feeling founder doubt or inadequacy, or, maybe you don't, but most founders do, how do you shift yourself out of that mindset? Because we always like to hear somebody's hack for saying, okay, I'm not feeling it today, but boom, here's what I need to do.
I don't know any other thing because I've been doing it since I was 8. So I guess if anything, my bummer is when I can't relate. The client just will not take my recommendations, and what I told them was going to happen kind of happens, and I still feel bad. I never want to be I'm trying to tell you, but I'm like, man. And then one of the other things that people be like, wait a minute, you work with so many companies. What if the company does the same thing? Whose side are you on? I was like, I'm always on the side of the win. So regardless of who I'm talking to, I'm always going to go the win, because just because a company wants to prime the contract doesn't mean it's for the win. I might say you really should let them look at the evaluation factors. So for me, it's really, I guess if I have that go-to place, it is, I will in a minute post up a Zoom, send a link out to my social media and say, hey guys, you want to talk about it? Hey, if something bothers me, I'll throw up a Zoom call. I call it office hours. And I was like, whatever y'all want to talk about, because, I need to get out of my own head right now. I need to get on my own space. And I will share with someone that case study. And 9 times out of 10, it helps so many of the other people.
Right.
So especially...
You were all about community and collaboration and connection.
Trying to get them the information that they need. And then you got the nonprofit versus the for-profit. People are starting a nonprofit and don't know the difference between foundations and public charities. That's a whole nother show.
That's right. And with the nonprofit showing control is even more important, because ownership is
with
a
a nonprofit
that
control is not even an issue, because a nonprofit just happens to be run by the board, so there is no control. And a lot of people need to understand that as well. So that whole merging of the two profits and for-profits, especially for grants.
I'm going to just bring up Lauren's comment. Linda Chatmon, this is such amazing information. I'm ready to have a conversation with you. I've worked in the DoD world and accepting RFPs, but never understood the other side of the process. Thank you for sharing.
Welcome. Come on.
Yay. Lauren Fitzpatrick Shanks, founder of Keep WOL. Keep wondering out loud. And Linda is awesome. Thanks, Andy. Thank you, Angela, for tuning in and grabbing the gems today from this phenomenal woman. You are a special person. We could pick your brain for forever. Anybody, this is a person you want to have on your panel who's speaking at your event. I don't care what you're doing. You reach out to Linda Chatmon, and you've seen it on the banner going by. Had her send her an email, everybody. It's L Chatmon, CHATMON at contractsandgrantsllc.com. Links are in the show notes. Thank you for gracing us with your presence today.
Thank you.
So much great information. You have upped Founders Games big time today. Ms. Chatmon.
Thank you for inviting me. I'll come back anytime. And thank you so much. I appreciate it. I look
Yay.
forward to hearing from each and every one of you. Y'all have a great day.
Okay, great. And I'm going to do my last little solo goodbye and thanks to everybody who tuned in today, because oh my gosh, we went to Government and Contracts Church today with Linda Chatmon, and we are all better founders for this experience, right? And you know what's really cool is that following this Friday, Fab Female Founder Friday, we're going to keep going on talking about the love of building generational wealth. And our guest is the Ruby, and she puts this on LinkedIn in quotes, Sunshine Taylor. And I have to tell you, this woman is just filled with joy. And we're going to just start off the conversation about how it is with racial wealth gaps in our country. And Ruby is on a mission to dissolve the racial wealth gap through her Financial Joy School, which is a virtual educational platform that provides access to financial education and investment tools to Black and Brown youth and their families. She's doing the smart thing. She's starting with them young and helping them increase. And this is a woman who has had a traumatic brain injury and brought herself back and able to do this work. So she is a woman of color. She is a disabled founder and doesn't, let any of that limit her, and is has this wonderful wife and phenomenal kids, and still is moving forward in life, helping others to help her dissolve the racial wealth gap. Because boy, the stats we're going to go over are crazy. And how do you know? Whenever I post a new show, you're part of the Startup Life Live meetup group, bit.ly/Startup Life Live. Links are in the show notes. You can scan that QR code. This way you'll get an alert and how do you do, and a mwah for me whenever I go live. We've got a whole bunch of comments here, just folks just saying, hooray, thank you. Let the church say amen. Linda is a blessing. And Heather, another great conversation. Here at the Startup Life Live show, we're trying to make your journey better and easier and more joy-filled, and bringing in the joy and lessening the heartache. And Linda did that today for all of us. So until we meet again, I just want you to remember, as always, and this is so important, that you keep reminding yourself that you're braver than you believe, you're stronger than you seem, and you are wicked smarter than you think. As we say here in Boston, keep going. I believe in you. I'm here for you. Always feel free to reach out. And until next time, I'm wishing you a delicious day. Mwah! Take care.